5 fragrances that are really hard to recommend. I think a lot of times when we think about perfumes, we think about fragrances that might be on the challenging side of things. We might think of daring compositions, ones that are very dark and brooding with smoke and resins and agarwood and a lot of ingredients that are not necessarily mass appealing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that these fragrances smell bad, right? As a matter of fact, some of the fragrances in this list I actually truly love. But nevertheless, these are 5 fragrances that in my humble opinion are quite difficult to recommend. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on all of these fragrances very soon. I'm going to let you know why I think they're hard to recommend, but also the type of person that I can comfortably see enjoying these fragrances. Before I dive into the list, hit subscribe, please. Hit the bell and give this video a thumbs up, as it would greatly assist with the algorithm here on YouTube. So of course, I love making these videos. I want to make sure that these videos do get transmitted to as many people as possible so that I can share the passion that I have for fragrances with as many people as possible. So let's just go ahead and dive into the list, but really quickly, if you're interested in sampling, especially the niche offerings in this list, you can do so at scentsplit.com. Now, ScentSplit is incredible. They have amazing fragrances, high-end niche, accessible designer. You can get samples or decants. You can try it on your skin, see how it works with your skin chemistry. But of course, you can also purchase full-size bottles at ScentSplit. So I love the various services that they do offer. So utilize them, right? You don't have to commit to the purchase of a $300, $400, $500 bottle right off the bat. You can end up getting a sample from ScentSplit, see how it works, and then you can go ahead and make the full purchase if you wish. So this is a brand new fragrance that just came out, right? This one is Oud Zarian by Creed. It's interesting because when I first smelled it, I said, my goodness, this reminds me of something that Amouage would put out. And off the atomizer, it's funny, it reminds me of Amen by Thierry Mugler. But off the atomizer, it seems like something I would really enjoy. And then you spray it on skin and it gets so much darker and it's so ambery, but it still has like a tobacco appeal to it as well. And interestingly, when I made that connection with Amouage, I think it reminded me of Opus 14. Is that the one that's Royal Tobacco, I think? And I said, wow, this is like Amouage level quality, which, I mean, I love Creed quality, right? Carmina, Millésime Imperial, Aventus. I really love what Creed has put out in the past several decades. But interestingly enough, the perfumer for this is Cécile Zarokian. And she's also done fragrances for Amouage. So anyway, funny enough, I made that connection prematurely, but then I did the research and I said, okay, well, it's an Amouage perfumer, one of many, by the way. There's Julien Rascanet, there is, Quentin Biche, there is Pierre Negrin. There are so many wonderful perfumers that have made fragrances for Amouage. But Oud Zarian by Creed, definitely a bold, confident, and assertive fragrance, albeit hard to recommend, but it is Creed's longest lasting fragrance. It doesn't necessarily have the complement factor that fragrances like Arolfa and Millésime Imperial and Himalaya and Aventus have, or even Virgin Island Water. This one is quite daring. Even Royal Oud has more accessibility than Oud Zarian. We also have Whiskey by Commodity. Whiskey is a very interesting fragrance, very confident, very bold, very assertive, just like Oud Zarian. It has that spicy, boozy touch to it that I particularly enjoy. However, also quite hard to recommend. It's not like juice, it's not like milk, it's not like wood or book. There's a lot of really mass appealing commodity fragrances. I have acquired so many throughout the years, even prior to the more recent rebranding, but whiskey is a really mysterious, confident, and I would say masculine leaning fragrance. But again, it's not one that I can confidently and comfortably recommend to everyone. We also have this next one by the Dua brand, and this one is called, I always forget the name because the original's name was Amber Oud. This one's called Amber and Oud, very similar. And this is inspired by, I love this fragrance so much. One of my favorites in this entire list, by the way. This one is inspired by Amber Oud by Kilian Paris, which is discontinued. I don't know why, because I love that stuff so much. And this is so strong. As you can tell, it's been left to macerate for quite a number of years. I purchased this one many years ago. and the liquid inside has acquired this ambery hue. It's a beautiful fragrance, exactly what the name implies, amber and oud. It's a very straightforward fragrance. It's so warm, so rich, so mysterious. One of my favorite ambers. Recently, I've also really been loving, it's over my left shoulder here, Tales of Amber by Goldfield and Banks. But Amber Oud by the Dua brand is incredible. Now, speaking of oud, it goes without saying this is a very, it's a very hard to get along with note. And this one also has a lot of amber and oud in it, but I think I get saffron spice, right? So it has like this leathery vibe to it in the dry down. And the saffron in here is done quite strongly. This one is Burgundy Oud by Atelier Materi. Now they have a vanilla offering. They have so many other incredible fragrances, but Burgundy Oud, by the way, this one is in the family of Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton. Just to give you an idea more or less of what to expect. With the oud, the spiciness, I mean, it's gorgeous, but again, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Even with regard to Louis Vuitton, right? Like I dropped their name earlier, and you think about Afternoon Swim, Imagination, Pacific Chill, L'Immensité, even Attrape Rêve. There's so many mass appealing fragrances by LV, even Lovers. Ombre Nomade is one of those where you have to, either you have to be in the mood for it, or you have to, you know, have a penchant for that type of a fragrance, right? Like you have to be into that DNA. Look, let me conclude with the fragrance in the number one spot. I love this fragrance so much. We're talking leather. This is one of the best on the market. Just mentioning leather, you probably have an idea of what it is. This brand has a lot of leathers. Now I'm sure there's an 80% chance of you knowing what it is. But it's a very hard fragrance to recommend. I think this brand has a lot of fresh fragrances. There's Tamarindo, which is not fresh, but it's mass appealing. There's Corfu, which is fresh. But as far as the leathers are concerned, they can be quite dark. I think Russian leather and Irish leather are quite quirky and idiosyncratic. This one is also quite daring, very spicy, very dark, but also very enchanting. I love this stuff so much. I can't get enough of it. And this one, get a sample from ScentSplit. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece fragrance, one of the best on the market. By Memo Paris. This one is called African Leather. I truly love this stuff. One of the best perfumes I've ever smelled in my life. And I had my good friend Erica on my channel it's been a few months now. And she mentioned that this was one of her favorite fragrances of all time. Erica from Oud Zarian. She's quite wonderful. But African Leather is it's a beast. It's a strong fragrance, super long lasting. It's a beautiful composition. Like I said, it's a masterpiece. And I think that description is justified. So thank you so much for joining me. These are 5 fragrances that, in my personal opinion, are quite hard to recommend. Not because they're bad. I think a lot of them are very good. I just think it takes a very acquired taste to be able to enjoy these, right? If you tell me like, I love my ouds, the darker the better, I'm going to say, okay, like check out Oud Zarian, especially if you don't mind an oud that is not a straightforward oud. You know what I'm saying? If somebody said, I love leather scents, the darker, the more mysterious, the better, then of course I'm going to recommend African Leather. But anyway, check these out. Thank you for watching. I hope you took something of value from this video. If you did, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up. I love you all so much. Thank you once again for joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.